What's on your plate? Hello, this is Reinhard von Hennigs. And more often than in the past, the answer is today there is no meat on the plate. The market for vegetarian, vegan, or other alternatives to meat is a growth market. In the year 2021, non-meat alternatives grew compared to the years before in a double-digit growth, and depending on which country, which region of the world you look at, 10, 15, 20, 30% growth is possible. It is interesting to see not only compared to the year before, but if you look in the year 2018, 2019, in certain markets, the meat-free consumption doubled. About 1/4 of the German population, which was recently polled, answered that they eat once a week a meat-free alternative. Not necessarily as in today we eat a salad and that is it. No, they choose a meat-free meat alternative, which is marketed heavily, where the question is it machine-made meat? Is it something made in the Petri dish? Whatever it is, the growth is there. The musing today is about the trend, because the trend is out there, but what do you do to make this trend your trend? How did your company adjust to that? Did you offer in your food choices in your own cafeteria a meat-free alternative using meat-free products? Do you have an idea how you can market your product towards a community who likes that? Do you have a chance to change some of your products and make sure that they have a lower ecological footprint, as this is one of the many reasons why meat-free products are so attractive? It uses less resources to have something on the table. So the question today is not really what's on your table, what's on your plate. The question really is, how are you adjusting to the world where meat-free alternatives are growing? Where do you fit in? Are you ready for Web 3 or Web 3.0? Hello, this is Reinhard von Hennigs. Some of you may wonder, what is Web 3? It is an idea for a new web platform using blockchain technology. In a way, Web 1.0 was a driven community of static websites. The consumers, the customers, took content from the web pages available, and based on that, they used it. And many think that the age of this Web 1.0 was done around the year 2004. After that, Web 2.0 came. It is a social media. It is the we as users create content type of web, where web became the everybody's web. Everybody is now a creator. Web 3.0 is popping up in recent discussions. Web 3.0 is a web where blockchain-dominated business could be used. It is not necessarily a web platform how we know it. It is a blockchain platform where NFTs, non-fungible tokens, are put out in the blockchain, as much as other organizations of decentralized autonomous organizations known as DAOs, decentralized finance, DeFi, and other concepts. So in other words, we are right now in the verge of a new web, just similar to the change from Web 1.0 to 2.0, from a static web over to a consumer we create content web. We are at a step to the new web. The question to you as business leaders is, are you ready? How much did your company create content, or how much is your company ready to incorporate smart contracts in the Web 3.0, self-executing contracts, and you name it? The question is also, how much Web 3.0 is a new money-making opportunities for those early adapters? The real estate in the internet is scarce at a certain level. It is unlimited. However, early adapters certainly have an opportunity to make Web 3.0 their new El Dorado. Where is Boeing located? Hello, this is Reinhard von Hennigs. And if you think about the production side, the manufacturing plants, of course, big Boeing plant is in Everett and the second one is in Renton, both situated in Washington State. The third plant located in Charleston in South Carolina. But the question I have today is, where is Boeing located with regard to the headquarters? Until recently, actually still now, headquarters of Boeing were in Chicago. I believe they were in Chicago because at that time it was an important way to raise capital, to be close to the stock exchange there, and you name it. But Boeing announced this week that they are relocating its global headquarters from Chicago to Arlington in Virginia. This is suburbia to Washington, D.C. So the direct news are, and this is what Boeing is saying, this move puts us closer to our global customers and stakeholders. But what do they really mean and what do they really say? Of course, it makes strategic sense to have a global headquarters next to the United States Capitol and to get access to not only world-class engineers, employees, but also being close to their global customers. How many global customers, however, are in Washington, D.C.? I believe between the lines, it means Boeing is closer to the Federal Aviation Administration, which certifies Boeing passenger and cargo planes, after Boeing has some kind of a fractured relationship over the Boeing 737 MAX problems in 2018 and 2019. It could also be that Boeing is now closer on their military side to decision makers at the Pentagon. It could also be that Boeing is just trying to be closer to a location where lobbyists are walking in and out in any case, which may have a positive impact on their business as well. So here's a quick takeaway. The closer you as a company want to be to the federal government, the closer you are able to get decisions being moved. At least this is the motivation for Boeing, how many commentators are suspecting it. What does it mean for the employment market? An already dense market in the Washington, D.C. area will become denser if you're a company where Boeing could believably pay more as you can offer. Russian-themed litigation. Hello, this is Reinhard von Hennigs. And while the war against Ukraine continues, the question is, how much litigation will there be? So in other words, will the war from the battlefield turn over to the war in the courtrooms? My quick answer is yes. The first lawsuits are already filed. Just the other day, a large Middle East airplane leasing company who wrote off about $500,000 for aircraft stranded in Russia filed an insurance claim for $538 million, and the insurance claim indicated it could be as high as over $1 billion. There are lawsuits against Apple filed in Russia for pulling out their payment services. There are lawsuits in Western European countries filed against Russia for whatever it is. There are lawsuits in different courts filed for force majeure, for business interruptions, and whatever it is. What I do see on the horizon is a big rise of claims where somebody says, sorry guys, I could not do it because of Russia. So we have some kind of frustration arguments. We have some kind of arguments to set aside contracts or to renegotiate contracts in light of impossibility and you name it. So I do see at the horizon litigation happening, not necessarily against Russia as a country, but against companies, company interactions where the companies were involved in Russian dealings. Here are my quick takeaways. If you are in a situation where you right now can renegotiate or can negotiate a contract, just think broader, that today's crises can no longer be unexpected. Similar to what I said about 2 years ago in a Corona litigation musing, the story is the same. Now the war in Ukraine can no longer be considered hypothetical. So if you talk about force majeure, include phrases which are relevant right now. Use today's language and today's knowledge rather than to rely on that something may be fixed later in court. The more specific you are now, the better it is later.
Whether you're a private citizen, an international business leader, or simply someone eager to stay on top of the latest news, this book is a great way to get caught up on the most recent developments in the worlds of international business, tax, politics, and social affairs. Go to morningmusings.com and order your copy today.
When is your flight? Hello, this is Reinhard von Hennigs. And as a frequent transatlantic traveler, I get this question often. When is your flight? And sometimes friends, colleagues, neighbors who ask me, when is your flight? Then start laughing. Well, of course, if you fly transatlantic from the United States, the flight must be in the afternoon or the evening. Well, that's kind of old news. British Airways now decided to offer a different flight cycle. So traditionally, transatlantic flights left Europe in the morning of European hours, adding a 6-hour time difference. They arrived in the afternoon in the United States, and return flights left in the afternoon in the United States and landed in Europe early next morning. But what if you fly just the other way around? You make an early morning flight from the United States. You arrive then very late at night in Europe or in the later afternoon. Then you hop on a plane in the late afternoon or evening hours in Europe, and you fly overnight, and you're back here early in the morning. I think it's a brilliant idea to make sure that you have all the choices on the table, depending on what you want to do. Do you go for pleasure? Do you want to go for work? Do you have to be at a certain meeting either here or there? So with this added flexibility British Airways puts to the table, there may be interesting developments in the future. But that's not enough. Air France is now offering a New York to Paris shuttle, which means they want to fly every hour during the daytime back and forth, hoping that they will fill it up and hoping that this will certainly steer up the transatlantic routes for the betterment of all of the transatlantic travelers.